All right, so investing 101. I'm going to get straight into this. You want to make sure you're taking notes throughout the entire thing. So, where we're starting off with investing 101, I want to give you an idea that if you're not already aware of this, some of you might be. If you're not already aware of this, is going to change the game for you, not just in investing, but in life. And that is, first of all, to understand spelling, right? So, what do we mean by spelling? Well, when we look at this word and most words out there, the clues are actually in the words. But people are not paying the level of attention to this because they don't understand spelling and what it really means. So when we look at spelling, take off the end of the word and it leaves us with the word spell, right? And if we look at the actual definition of the word spell, the definition shows that one of them is to look at the letters in the correct sequence in a word. So letters create landscapes, words create worlds. That's something that I heard recently that is so true because the second definition of the word spell is looking at it more so as something that is quite magical, right? It's a charm or incantation. And when we look at another one of the definitions, literally right there on Google, it says an ability to control or influence people as though one had magical power over them. An ability to control or influence people as though one had magical power over them. So if you're under somebody's spell, what does that mean? It means that they're literally controlling your life. Now, here's the thing that people don't understand is that when you control the language and you control thoughts, you literally control thoughts and you control action because what you think about is then going to be manifested in your behavior. So control action and you literally control the world at that point. And think about it. Who made the English language? Right? Where did this actually come from? And the people using the English language, do they have a level of awareness as to where the words came from or the original meanings in the Hebrew or the Latin? No. And so they're just literally casting spells in their own life, which is putting them into a state that is not actually serving and helping them. And I'm going to prove this to you right now. So take a look at this. This is just an average sentence. And if I read it out, I want you to see if there's anything that sticks out that is a little bit out of place or doesn't make sense or whatever. I tell you about the job I undertake. I begin Monday morning. I work through my weekdays to earn my living. I pay my mortgage, and then we celebrate our weekend together. Anything wrong about that sentence? Anything stick out as being irregular? No? If yes, then that means that you're more aware. And you can see the hidden meanings in this sentence. Because when I show you now, it's going to show you the truth. Now look at the sentence. And pay attention to the words that are in red. I'll tell you about the job I undertake. I begin Monday morning. I work through my week days to earn my living. Pay my mortgage, and then we celebrate our week end together. You see the difference? The words are actually showing you right there the truth of what you're saying. And notice that the whole theme of this one sentence is just an average normal sentence. It's death. What's an undertaker? You ever seen WWE? The undertaker is the guy that comes out of the coffin. Represents death. That's what an undertaker is. I begin Monday morning. What do you do when you go to a funeral? You mourn the death of a person. Who are you going to be mourning the death of if you're going into work? I work through my week days. Meaning, you work through your week and you're in a week of a days as well, almost asleep. To earn, what's an urn? An urn is something that when you cremate a person and you set them on fire, put them into ashes, you put the ashes into an urn, and then the ashes live in the urn. To earn my living. Pay my mortgage, right? What does mort mean? Mort actually comes from the word death, literally. And then we celebrate our week end together. This is the truth. It's literally there in plain sight. So if you want to wake yourself up, right? If you really want to come out of the matrix, if you want to um, to ascend from that level of being, you need to start studying the English language. The clues are always in the words. And so we're going to take a look at that and how that relates to investing. So, what most people do with their money and what most people say they do with their money is they say that they spend their money, right? You're spending every single day. I hate spending this. It's expensive. It's spending, spending, spending. Okay, cool. So, this is the truth of what's happening when people spend. When people are spending their money, they are simultaneously ending their money, right? And ending the flow of what's going to be there. Ending having an abundance because they're constantly overspending, and what they're spending in is not intentional to actually help them. I'm going to show you right now what ends up happening when you spend your money is that you leave yourself open to being attacked. You leave yourself open to what it's like, synonymous with being in war, where somebody can gun you down, shoot you down, or kill you because you didn't have any protection. Now, the difference with investing is that when we look at the word investing, the clue again is in the word. And what we need if we're making investments is we need protection, which is why it has the word vest inside of it. Right? Vest is something that you put on to wear. The first thing that we do, right? We wear a vest as armor to protect us. So wouldn't you rather go into a war, right? Wouldn't you rather go in being prepared and fully protected rather than going in and only having a t-shirt? This is what happens when we invest. So what is investing? What does the definition say of investing? Investing is putting your money into financial schemes, shares, property, or a commercial venture with the expectation of achieving a profit. All right, that's what investing is. It also says that it's to provide or endow someone or something with a particular quality or attribute. And the third one, funnily enough, is to clothe or cover with a garment. Like I said, it's about putting a vest on and surround a place in order to besiege or blockade it. So this is an important one to remember as well, because when we look at the Latin, it's saying to clothe, right? To actually put that piece of clothing on, which is again the vest. Now, one thing that I learned from a mentor of mine, this is Balazs W. Cardoso. He's now, pretty much done almost a billion in sales in his organization. And he said to me that, things are not just about doing and having the right ingredients. You also need to have what's called the right sequence. Now, people get this wrong. And the best way I can describe it is that imagine if we were to make a chocolate cake. You can have all the right ingredients. You could have the flour, you could have the sugar, you could have the chocolate, you could have anything else that you're going to put into your chocolate cake. But if you don't do it in the right particular sequence where, you decide that you're going to turn on the oven first and then just put in the flour, you're not going to have a chocolate cake. Like, you have to actually mix it first in the right order. And this is what ends up happening. If you don't do things in the right sequence, you end up with a ball set on fire like Homer Simpson. So what we need to look at is, first of all, what are the ingredients and what would the sequence be? And so the ingredients to investing is the 3 areas to invest. Number one thing we can invest in is we can make a self-investment. Picture that as you going into war, a vest onto yourself, right? That's the number one thing. Number 2 is you can make an investment, which is a business investment, right? And a business investment would be you putting in protection on your business, and it's kind of like locking the door on your business before you go home so that nobody comes in and steals shit. And then the third type of investment is an investment into other people's businesses that typically people do on the stock markets and things like that. So these are the types of investments. Now, the majority of people's sequences is they go in the wrong order, where they start off and they invest into businesses and other people's assets, and then they do a self-investment. Now, think about the logic of this. That's like going to war and you worrying about your actual your blockade or your home more than going into war and having a vest on. Like, the first thing first is that you want to have protection yourself. That's the number one thing. Don't worry about what's going on in other people's assets and other people's countries, like you want to protect yourself first. It's like when you're drowning, for example, what do they say when you go on a plane? They say that you need to put on your life jacket first because you can kill somebody else if you end up trying to save them. Self-investment to a business investment or other people's assets, this is what only 1% of people and population of the world do. And so when we look at this, it's synonymous with what we call the cash flow quadrant, where on the left-hand side of the quadrant, there is the 99% of people. And on the right-hand side of the quadrant, there's the 1% of people. The funny thing is, on the right-hand side of the quadrant, people here have more money put together than the 99% of people combined. Now, why do you think that is? It's simply because they have a different approach. They have a different sequence. They have different ways of doing things, different mindset. And it's very simple. Everything that happens on the left, the mindset is the opposite on the left as it is on the right. So the mindset of an employee, the mindset of somebody that's self-employed is I don't have enough. The mindset of somebody who's on that side is like, I can't do things. But on the right-hand side, they're thinking, how can I do things? Right? How can I have enough? Mindset on the left, people are negative. Mindset on the right, people are positive, optimistic. Mindset on the left, people are in fear. Mindset on the right, people are acting through faith, taking risks. So this is the cash flow quadrant, which is important to look at. And what it shows is that people can go from being employees where they have no time, no leverage, to becoming self-employed where you have even less time, but still no leverage. What is leverage? Leverage is important to understand. Leverage is you utilizing somebody else's resources so that you're able to get out more for what you're putting in with your little resources. And funnily enough, even though business owners and investors have more resources, they leverage more than the people on the left. So people on the left, on the right, they own a system and people work for them. And also as investors, money works for them. And so they can actually experience what's called passive income. Now, the beautiful thing about passive income is it is earned in various ways, like renting out your home, using some home sharing app or selling crafts online. Could be earned from business with little effort going in. And there is a difference between passive income versus residual income. This is two terms that we hear about quite often. So it's important that you understand the difference, but as long as you're earning either passive or residual income, it's so much better than what we call linear income. Because with linear income, as we've shown in the cash flow quadrant, you always have to trade your time for money, which is there's going to be a limited time for limited money. But with the residual income, the calculation that determines how much discretionary money is available after financial obligations are met, this is where you're able to earn what feels like passive income. And it's because residual income is, in most instances, passive. But there's just a few technicalities around that. So to give you a couple of examples of the difference between passive versus residual income, some passive income could be assets, financial assets, high yield savings accounts, dividend stocks, whereas residual income would be copyrights, intellectual property, royalties. It's more of a legality. And then in the middle, we can see that there's ones that overlap. So business investments, rental property can act as both passive and residual income. So we hear this term thrown about all the time, but this is what we're aiming for, because this is what the true 1% of earners in the world are acting as when they're earning their income, acting as investors who are earning passive and residual income. So the rest of this module, the rest of the training right now that we're going to go into is going to show you exactly how you can start earning passive and residual income without having to put in any money down yourself through leverage, and with also not having to put in any time yourself, again, through leverage, so that you can start doing this sooner than later. So I'll see you in the next few videos. Thanks for watching and take care.